Alright, let's start with this. Please. Huh? That's actually not a bad sketcher for what it's worth. So this is I should point out all these. I'm going over everything in the journal so I can just catch us up with it a bit. Then if we see any journals, I'll try and remember to actually show them to you when we get them, or at least as near as possible. So, so this is all the way through from the beginning of the game. Just so you know, Blackwater. I bought I bought this new journal after the last one got destroyed in that fire all those months ago, whenever it was. Haven't written and drawn as much in the past few months, but I was missing it more than I thought I would. I finally got it restored, so here I am, I guess. After all that business up north in the fire, we spent a few months in wilderness, traveling down from the northern grizzlies. Stuck mostly in the western foothills of the mountains during the worst of the winter. Food was easy to find and life was good. Judge had the lead for some land we were going to buy, but the land did not match up with his criteria, or he got spooked. We were being watched by a law and got somebody he knew that watched by a law, and that somebody knew who he was. And we never bought it, and we were wandering still. We picked up a couple of new folk on the grizzlies. Jenny, a sweet young girl we had met abandoned on the roadside, and Micah, an outlaw Dutch, met in a bar someplace. Dutch seems very taken with Micah, who was pretty hot-headed. That's a massive understatement. Argumentative, again understated, and full of himself. Pfft, easy. Jose and I are less sure. Guess we'll see. Yeah, we definitely will see. Eventually, we came out to the wilderness and are now holed up outside of Blackwater. Although sometimes I stay in town hunting for opportunities. Good to make a living, I suppose. I might be onto something. We got plenty of money, and on the trail we took was tortuous and slow. Nobody could have followed us south and east, or figured out where we were heading. We was thinking about California, but then Dutch and Hosea brought us out down to Blackwater. That's sketching's for what it's worth. Blackwater has apparently grown a whole lot since any of us were last here. I was taught to expect a little more than a trading post. Well, I think you'd probably a lot more than that. But the place was growing fast, and it's almost a small city. The town seems to be riddled with corruption, but there's certainly plenty of money here. Ooh, of course. It's good to be sleeping in the bed from time to time and living more a civilized life than after so long under canvas. But I do not particularly like being this near to a town. Okay, fair enough. I suppose if you've been surviving as sort of an outlaw type or as a gunslinger, you're probably used to sort of sleep on the road, as it were. Makes a bit of sense. We're living here, camping outside town mostly, hidden in plain sight, I guess. Life seems pretty easy. Abigail and Marston keep arguing. I wonder why exactly he came back. He cannot seem to decide if he wants to be a father to that boy of his or not. The arguing is exhausting. I heard talk of a man sound like Trelawney, but we haven't seen him for many months. Ozera and I are onto something pretty big. Might be a lot of cash coming in to do with a real estate scam Hosea thinks may have discovered. I'm not sure yet. The perfect crime, we think. One where we rob crooks. We're being real careful. Good idea. It's fun working with Hosea again. The man is an artist of nonsense. True. Even if nothing comes of it, we're having an amusing enough time. I can easily understand that. Also, this must be the end of the first game, I think. Interesting to read then. Because I never played the first game, so it's quite interesting for me. It's good to be running scans again. Hosea is a born huckster. He's getting anxious, worried about the lingering in town. We're going to bring an undue attention on ourselves. Yeah, that's another statement. But Dutch thinks that he is also onto something big. His words, not mine. Bank money being brought in by boat, apparently. So for now, we're working on both things and seeing what happens. Plan is to flee west into the desert country someplace if we can. That was the plan. Micah and Dutch are planning to rob the ferry in town. They think it's laden with riches. Cash coming in for the banks. Coming in by boat. For once, I'm not getting involved in the job. Hosea and I are too taken up with our own business, which I believe could go very well, and Dutch seems confident that with the group assembled, all will be okay. Yeah, we've heard that before. Plan is for them to carry out the job, then flee into the wilderness out to the west. The next day, Hosea and I carry out our scam and join them. Dutch seems happy and excited. He's talking again about California, but he's also talking about a lot of other places. Ooh. Nice. Oh boy. Coulter. We've been running for weeks. I mean, running more than usual. The job there was pulling in Blackwater, robbing that ferry. It turned into a disaster. Young Jerry got killed, poor thing, while Sean and Mac both got arrested or killed. Nobody seems sure which. Dutch shot a girl. I'm not too sure if by accident or design, and it seems like it might have been a setup. I'm assuming that means the ferry job, yeah. We took to the hills in an almighty scramble. That's a massive understatement, for what I've heard. Leaving Muddy and most of our things behind. Well, you don't have a choice, do you? Davy. Then, as we were fleeing east over the Grizzlies, an almighty storm hit us. Davy Calendar, who had got shot in the gut in the raid, passed away. Rest in peace, Calendar. So that's who they were talking about a bit earlier in the game. Okay, on a mission. It was brutal to watch, and the rest of us nearly froze. And we found shelter and have been resting in here in some old abandoned mining town. We will await the thaw. Ah, so Coulter was that mining town place. Gotcha. Huh, basic, but it worked. Hardly the spring was hoping for. Hosea and I had been planning a robbery of our own in Blackwater, but I guess that's going to be abandoned along with the rest of the things of what I owned. Along with most of what I owned. I'm profoundly concerned as to what happens next. Once we leave this place and the law finds us cowering up here. Found a girl. Well, a woman, I should say. Her husband had been murdered by some of Colm O'Driscoll's boys. Nasty business. Yeah, it was. Righty out. Nice. Ridge. Leviticus Cornwall. Seems Colm had some ideas on seems Colm O'Driscoll had the same idea as us. He's been hiding up here, scouting out a train he wanted to rob. We bumped into some of his boys at a farmstead he was robbing. Found that poor woman whose husband had been murdered, and she's now running with us, and she ain't got no place better to be. Then, Dutch being Dutch, and his hatred for Colm being just as powerful as it ever was, whole bunch of us went to pay him a visit in his camp, but he escaped. We grabbed one of his boys. Poor bastard ain't spoken yet, but he will once we freeze him a little. Then set bill on him. Been a bad few weeks, but we're mostly still alive. Dutch being Dutch is busy making plans and figuring out just how we're going to survive. And Dutch being Dutch, whose plan involves robbery and dreams, of course. Be sad if it didn't, to be honest. Oh, nice. Oh, Horseshoe Overlooks. That's a really nice photo of it, actually. Photo. Sketching. Etching. Let's get called a sketching, for God's sake. What the hell? Photo. There it is. Oh, boy. Horseshoe Overlook. So this is the place we were at last before we came here to Clemens Point. Finally, a thaw in this god-awful weather. We got off the mountain and rode east into some pretty enough country called the Heartlands. Ain't been this far east in many a year. Jose seems to know this country a little. Ain't been much for spring. Now holed up at a place called Horseshoe Overlook. outside some dumpy little cattle town. Name of Valentine. That seems a little better. His eyes are sparkly once more. I can see he's thinking a little clearer. Always a good sign. I think we'll all feel a little happier, in spite of Blackwater and all that mess. Yeah, that's an understatement. Hopefully, anyway. Heading into Valentine with Uncle and the girls. Girls went scouting out some work while Uncle and I had a few drinks and he explained more of his theories on existence and bare-faced lies about his past. Things turned a strange. Things took a strange turn. Some fella seemed to recognize me, or us, for Blackwater. Excuse me. Guess we've been holed up here too long while Jose and I scouted a job that never was. I chased the bastard.
How's that food coming along?
And he nearly fell off a cliff. I spared him and he gave me an ink pen. I've still got that, by the way, because it's nice. I mean, you don't get ink pens very often back in those days, that's for sure. Unless you're rich. I hope I won't regret my leniency, but I reckon he got the scare of his life. Jimmy Brooks was his name. Yeah, Jimmy Brooks. Wild carrots. Met some old drunken Valentine. Claimed he was a shootist. Seems more like a clown. Some poor fool was writing a book about him. Or trying to. Levin was the name of the writer. Jim Calloway was the killer. Apparently Levin needs more information. Asked me to find a few folk who had spent who spent more time in publicity than me and knew old Jim back when he was a real killer. The names are Emmett Granger, Flaco Hernandez, Billy Midnight, and Black Belle. I still haven't found him yet. I'll probably have to. I wonder if there's a specific way we have to look them up. I'm not sure. If actually, if you know, like, if there's any particular, like, I know he's gonna be in Salou, but if there's, if it matters depending on chapter or time of day, even. Where location, if they rotate, the schedule, if there is one. Actually, if you have an idea, could you let me know? Because I'd really like to try and wrap up that that quest, please. If you've got any ideas, let me know, please. It'd be really, really good, actually. Sound like a couple of like a troop of clowns. We shall see what kind of people those kind of that. We shall see what kinds of people those who want to be famous murderers is. My hopes are not too high. Right? Get that one? Yeah, it's just continue on. Right, gotcha. I'll say, did I skip a page? that's actually nice sketchings. I think that's a raccoon, I think, on the bottom. Not sure what the hell that is on top. Actually, it's a nice sketching of a horse, for what it's worth. Took a day off and went off hunting with Hosea. He really seems to be getting his strength back a bunch. Although he was lucky not to die as this big bear had been out to turn on us. I thought when we were stuck up in the mountains that the cold and the misery would kill him, and we'd bury him like we buried Jenny and Davy. But he pulled through and he'll live a while yet. I'm sure he definitely will. I'm liking the sketches there. Bit rough around the edges, but I get the point. I love Dutch like a father, in many ways. I love Hosea even more. Kind of probably more like an Uncle Hosea, I'd imagine. He's kind and fair like a human being. I like how you just say that like a human being, and Dutch probably is not, even though it's like a father. I don't know. That's just how I'm reading it. I'm not sure. Dutch is something else. This bear was also something else. Size of a god. Damn hotel. It was mean with... size for goddamn hotel. Sorry, I read that wrong. It was size for goddamn hotel it was, and mean with it. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I read that wrong. I thought it was two different sentences there. Colm O'Driscoll slipped through our fingers once more, and I saw my own life slip through mine. That gentle buffoon we kidnapped up in the mountains took us to a cabin. We were planning to kill Colm, but it had just gone elsewhere. We shot a bunch of his boys, and one was about to end my life when Kieran shot him. This feud, it's bled out from Dutch and Colin's mutual hatred into a loathing that permeates all of us and all of them. Still, I found quite a shotgun in the cabin. We did, for what it's worth. I think it's yaman and raspberry. Yep, collect both of those. That's for sure. Okay, so nice things. Burdock root and creeping thyme. American ginseng, I think. Ginseng, however you want to call it. Her Strauss is back lending money, and I'm back collecting it. The work mostly revolts and shames me. Somehow, robbing people honestly with a gun and fists is less repellent than robbing them fully in accordance with the law. It'll be the usual sentence of desperados, sick farmers, pregnant maids, lovesick young men, and other dupes desperate enough and stupid enough to take Strauss's terms. Usurers life may be a comfortable one. Usurers, I think that's how I say it. It's maybe a comfortable one, but it's a foul work. I probably pronounced that wrong completely. Strauss. I went to call in on alone. Some farmer, local do-gooder. Think I'd seen him in Valentine before when I was fighting that big fella. He begged and coughed and spluttered and I beat him half to death. Such is life, such is the world. His boy looked at me like I was the devil, and perhaps for him I was. The whole thing confused me. Maybe that's wrong. The whole thing revolted me, my part. These sad, desperate bastards. Their silly expectations of life and these tawdry reality. The unkindness of existence. I can handle that just fine, but I do not love it. Nor those who try to make things otherwise, I guess. Oh, sorry. Nor those who try to make things otherwise. Sorry. Valentine. Went off drinking with young Lenny. Thanks to my own peculiar genius for trouble when drunk, the evening did not quite go according to plan, but somehow neither of us got killed or arrested for murder, despite my best efforts in that regard. We did get chased by the law, so we obviously managed to escape. Somehow, I don't imagine that the saloon owner in Valentine likes me very much after the mayhem I have caused. No, I don't suppose he would. Smithfield Saloon. This fella I took to talking with at the train station told me that I could get decent money if I collected complete sets of cigarette cards and sent them to him. We shall see. Sounds harmless enough. Yeah, I'm not smoking, sorry. I wish when you collected cigarette packs it just gave you the card automatically. I wish you didn't have to open it personally because I don't want to use them. I haven't found anyone to sell them to yet, which is a bit of a shame really. I wish I knew who I could sell them to. Unless that's further down the... Actually, if you know who we can sell cigarettes to, that sort of stuff, and was it cocaine gum? I think it is for the whatever it is that I don't want to use because it damages when the cause. Could you let me know in the comments? That'd be actually really awesome because I'd like to get a whole bunch of them out of the inventory actually, so we can collect more. Make some nice little bit of cash along the side. Met an idiot hunting for treasure. Bought a map off him. Wonder if I'll find anything. We'll get to that at some point. Not yet. Met Emmett Granger. I can't think of a single man I've enjoyed seeing dead more than this bastard. Pig shit and hatred. And he's still throwing a knife at me. Met a lady scientist. Deborah something or other. Seemed to be more mad than sane. But I don't have much frame of reference for scientists. Wanted me to see if I could help her find dinosaur bones and send her the details. Maybe. We found one. I can't remember what her last name was. Deborah something. Yeah, exactly something. I really do not remember what her name was. The only name that's coming to mind is Cunningham, but I'm pretty sure that's not what it was. Well, I love the name she gave, or some utterly ridiculous over-the-top name she gave for a type of dinosaur. Gigantosaurus or some ridiculous thing like that. So Mary again. I feel like the luckiest man, and I feel like a fool. Live and feel like a fool. That woman confuses me and plays me for a riddle like no one else alive. Her little brother Jamie has joined some religious order in need of saving. Or so she and the god-awful daddy seem to have thought. I took him home, after a pathetic little squabble. Poor boy. Wonder what will become of him. Education and unpleasant father have been a terrible curse for him, I fear. Well, not the education. Probably the unpleasant father, yes. I love he pulls that education being a bad thing. As for Mary, I trust I will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somewhere I imagine I shall. Oregano, because that's the first time I think we collected it. Common bush rush. Ah, yes, with him. But a nice fella taking for his animals. Albert Mason, I think he was called. Kind and interesting, and entirely lost and unused to country. I think it's unused to country. Well, it's not unused, but not used to the real country. Even though he seemed to love it. Trying to take pictures of all those biggest predators before they all got killed themselves by the modern world. Should have gone to take a picture of Dutch. Maybe Hosea as well, for that matter as well. Oh, God. He got robbed by a coyote, but got his bait back. He certainly did. Got into some god-awful fight in the town saloon. Bill started it. His wounds so tight, his mouth so tight about something, I reckon he'd start hitting himself soon enough. He'll start hitting himself soon enough. I was stopped from beating some big yokel to death by a local do-gooder. I could not tell if this made me pleased or real angry. The local crowd seemed to want to see the blood, however. Afterwards, Dutch accosted me with old Desire Trelawney, back and quite as slippery and confusing as ever. Yeah, that sounds about right. He'll come and go again, no doubt, and leave some of us none any the wiser as to who or what he is. Trelawney told us that Sean had not been killed in Blackwater, but he was a prisoner there, held by scalp hunters awaiting payment. Charles Smith, Javier, and I met in Blackwater, rescued the loud-mouthed maniac. Before we'd even cut him free from the tree, he was mouthing off at us. To his own insaniac type words. Javier since said Blackwater was an impossible situation, and I guess I had better forget about all that money, at least for now. We'll be back there later. Take one of ours. What's theirs anyway. All them years wasted in earning that stuff. Guess I'll never quite know what happened. But the upshot is, we're on the run, and known to more folks in authority than we would like. A bit of a strange way to write this. A bit like used to wording it like that. Jose and I went robbing, just like in the old days. A father and son pair of clowns at some farmhouse, stole a wagon, and sold it to some rat Hosea met at some old place called Emerald Ranch. What goes on there, I cannot tell, but his little purchase to his stolen goods had us go rob his own family. Or cousin, high marriage. Even my own standards, that was low. But the father and son we robbed was proof that God makes mistakes sometimes. I snuck it at night and robbed the loathsome bastards blind. We certainly did. I probably could have robbed more, but I didn't want to risk waking anyone up. Found Flaco Hernandez for that silly book. Killed him. Bastard jumped out of the way, but I still got him. Didn't seem like the type I was going to befriend anyway. No, he didn't. He seemed very much full, very full of himself, that's for sure. That's parasol mushrooms and milkweed. Guess Billy Midnight never escaped his past. Guy was deranged and shooting some fellow in the back, or in their sleep, or something else. Something that's very sensible in my opinion. Anyway, guilt had consumed him. So like a true proper gentleman, he tried to kill me. We sorted that out for sure. That's this is clamshell orchid. I've still got that. I haven't sold it yet. It's apparently some sort of main item, I think, or very valuable. I'm not really sure. Oh, it's a crafting material. Black Belle. What a woman. If she was younger and I was in the market for a woman to go killing with, what a pair we could have made. I actually agree with that. Definitely made a damn good killing pair, they sure. And definitely a great pair of outlaws and gunslingers together, that's for certain. She told me old boy Calloway was a posier and a liar. Big surprise, yeah. Not even surprised at all. Took young Jack out fishing as a favour to Abigail. Many years ago, before she fell so hard for that fool Marston, perhaps I should have married her. I think part of me always thought that. Yet, God damn you, Mary. Jack is a good boy, a dreamer, a boy with a mama who loves him. I wonder if he'll find what we seek. Peace and truth away from all this nonsense and lies. If that is what we still seek. Not that it's a new development. I'm not sure I know myself anymore. Sometimes I'm not sure Dutch does. As we fished, a couple of Pinkerton agents appeared. Milton was one of them, and Ross, I think it was, the other. I forget the other fellow's name. Ross, I'm pretty sure it was. They knew all about me. That's a new turn of events. Apparently there's 5,000 on my head alone. That's not very much. I mean, it's good if you want to get instantly slightly rich, but oh, I thought it would be worth more than that. Seriously. After Blackwater, or maybe before, it seems we may be in real trouble. I just don't know. Dutch don't seem too worried, but I'm beginning to have my doubts as to wisdom of his indifference. Yeah, who knows? Hummingbird Sage, I think it is. Met a strange guy. Thought it was a prophet, blind. So that was the guy on the side of the road, which I think tried to offer us a bit of wisdom, I think, so. Violet Snowdrop, was it? Indian tobacco, yep. Saw Mr. Mason again. This time he was taking pictures of wolves, still doing his hardest to get eaten himself, pretty much. For all the precautions, he still couldn't outsmart the wolves. We had to protect him, otherwise they would have eaten them. God's sake, unbelievable. Clemens Point. So now at the current place we are. More problems have befallen us, more running. Leviticus Cornwall, the oil, sugar, rail and greed merchant whom we'd robbed a while back, had us ambushed in Valentine. Since he's added to the price on our heads, we shot away out of town and narrowly escaped with our lives. The only amusing aspect of the horror was her Strauss getting grace and acting like he was preparing for a short trip down to hell. After this, we fled the country and headed even further south and east, camping by a lake, which is where we are now, currently. This is pretty much new country for me. Charles and I saved a family of Germans who were in the process of getting killed themselves. Yeah, well, we did help them out, you know. Need to get our honor, to get some honor for ourselves. Bit of extra pride back, you know. Self-pride, I mean. He's a better man than me. He doesn't need to think to be good. It comes naturally to him. Like right is deep within him, as opposed to this conflict between good and evil that rages within me. If only we had fled west out of Blackwater, we could have been free now. Out where we belong, beyond civilization with the ravages and the animals. Here, we won't even be at home. We won't ever be at home. Well, at least you're not in danger presently. You would think and hope, wouldn't you? So it turns out we're holed up outside a town called Rhodes, deep in the old cotton country. The place has not recovered from the war, and these folks is sober enough to think they're still angry. Still angry. The drunk, which is most of them, are angrier still, but perhaps for other reasons. And in the absurdity, we appear to be planning to deputize ourselves into local law enforcement, which is kind of a good thing, but I get the absurdity behind it. And have already taken down a major bounty on their behalf, but mostly to rescue slippery old Trelawney, who had gotten himself arrested for some of his usual nonsense. Seems like there's a long-running blood feud between the two old families here, and both Dutch and Hosea believe they may still be onto a lot of gold. We shall see, I guess. We shall definitely see. The park house. The park house. Parlor house! Oh my god. But a fella called Miss Margaret. Miss Bloody Margaret. Sorry. So I decided to call it. It's Bloody Margaret. So I'm calling him Bloody Margaret. Sorry. I had to add that in. Oh, God. An animal trader and showman or showwoman? Mistress of Danger. Quite a character. Wants me to find some missing animals. A while ago, I met an odd man dressed as a lady animal trainer. Are all Englishmen that weird, I wonder? All his animals were as fake as the rest of his act, until I was to find and retrieve a real lion from somewhere or other in Africa. I thought was going to be another dog, but no, it was a real lion. It was actually quite a menacing one too, I might add. Real bit of a scar, real veteran of his ways, I think. Thing looked like it wanted to have me for its next meal. That was definite. To unload a bunch of lead in his head, thank God. I'm not saying that against lions, I'm just saying to protect ourselves. Self-defense, of course. After hunting a zebra, that was really a horse. That was, a donkey, sorry. And a tiger that was a cougar, and another lion that was just a dog with this bloody stupid hair mane on it. And I think that's right. I think I've lost track of the whole thing. And it's an assistant that's a real woman, and him a strange English maniac and a dress pertaining to be all that he isn't. Remind yourself never to go on stage. I get. Fair enough. Oh my god. The weird English guy gave me a pretty decent emerald as payment for my troubles. Maybe it wasn't so bad after all. He probably had that as just something personal belongings. Maybe an heirloom or something. That emerald was about as real as a zebra and worth a whole lot less. Since Miss Bloody Margaret made idiots out of all of us, what did I expect? A man who dealt in fake tigers gave out real gems? Oh, so it's not a real emerald, is it not? Ah, god damn it. Well, actually, but what am I talking about? If it's only worth like 50, real items would be worth thousands back in those days, or at least hundreds. I don't know why. I should have known better. I should just sell for this. I might just keep for the sake of it. It looks nice, you know. The illusion of appearance, as they say. Helped Mr. Mason take out another picture, this time with wild horses, and he gave me a beautiful print of one of the wolves that nearly ate him. That was quite good, actually. Miss Adler, the widow of a rescued a while back. So this was Adler one from the original one, that farmhouse of the O'Driscolls that we rescued, and the husband being killed by the O'Driscolls. That was Miss Adler. Miss Adler is the wife of the dead guy. For those who aren't aware and can't remember back, might be the craziest one of all of us. She fights like a cornered polecat, with a rage and a bloodlust that frightens the hell out of me. She's good at what she does, though. I'll tell you what, for what we've seen. I ever get on her wrong side, and I'm a dead man. I don't intend to. She's a fine woman, amusing and good-hearted, and a decent and angry. I took her shopping and had to stop her from filleting old Pearson right in the cab. I'm sure she would have. After we got jumped, She went insane and showed she can kill with the best of us. Ooh, she can definitely hold her own. That is no surprise there at all.
Do you hear me?
Chanterelles. Yeah, thank you. Deputy Sheriff. Deputy Sheriff. Finally, we've achieved a state of true insanity. For the first time in my life, I'm a deputized lawman. We went off with some moronic dupe deputy working for the alcohol-drenched Sheriff Grey, pursuing some moonshiners. Dutch is convinced this will somehow lead to riches beyond compare. Seems the one more powerful local family, the Greys, ex-Scots, is warring with another proud English family, the Braithwaites, like some long-running dispute from the border country. Excuse me. Apparently there's gold or women or something at the root of all this, and if it's gold, we want it. Either way, we are so deep in the swamp and so entirely lost ourselves. I hope it will take the Pinkertons and their like a long while to find us. We shall see. In the meantime, a new career path in law seems to await. Seems like amongst our other perils are a gang called the Lemoyne Raiders. Won't take too kindly to outsiders or anyone who ain't living in the distant past. Met a man, Francis Sinclair, wants me to find some old rock carvings and send you details. Not sure why. I probably won't bother. Francis had a bright red hair and a birthmark and spoke in odd way. Sorry. Yeah, if I can find any, I'll wretch them down, but it's not saying I'm going to go out of my way to find. I'll saying that seriously. Been interesting? Yep, covered that already. Braithwaite Manor. Moonshine. I met some charming women in my time. Catherine Braithwaite, the mother hen to that particular bunch of roosters, ain't one of them. I saw her old jug of piss and bullshit I ain't never met. Even Hosea's claims were lost upon her. She refused to offer it, selling back her own shine, and instead got us to give it away to annoy the saloon owners in town. Smart, for what it's worth. Hosea put on quite a show until we got interrupted by those bastards we robbed when grabbing the stuff. We just about escaped. But on the other hand, I met this poor bastard great boy, Bo.
Somewhere between crappy and crap. I know that feeling.
And his forbidden love, Miss Penelope. Quite the most alive creature we've met down here. Suddenly, I'm marching as if a surrogate. A suffragette, sorry. The looks of loathing on the focus of the locals delighted me, while their leader and Miss Calhoun amused me. I don't know much about the good causes nor the joys of democracy, but I enjoyed my little experience riding alongside them. World is certainly changing fast. Yes, that's for sure back then. Slowly but certainly progressively. Depending on where you are, of course. Stumbled into this old drunk on the streets of Rhodes. I don't know quite why it made an impression. The world is still full of self-pitying drunks. Hell, I hope to grow into one myself. But something about this fella, Jeremiah Compson, blamed everyone else for his plight, lost his career and lost his home, wanted me to go and find a few trinkets at his home, the Compson Steed, just north of Sky Meadows. Maybe I'll head over there sometime. Went to the house. Don't feel so bad for him now. Feel like a fool. Bastard was a... Don't feel so bad for him now. Like a fool bastard was a slave catcher. Yeah. That was horrible. Went to see nice Mr. Compson again. Burned his valuable letter right in front of those eyes. Agreed. This time, Albert Mason seemed obsessed by getting eaten by alligators. Again, he managed to survive much more by luck than judgment. So now we've finally got to... well, good. We've actually caught up. That's pretty cool, actually. And nicely on time. Okay, I'll tell you what. I know that was a bit of a long read, but I wanted to catch up to everything. So, um, I know it's not exactly riveting action, but it's good to keep up with the journal entries, I think. So, yeah. Well, here, and I reckon next time we might finally talk to Dutch. I know there's the Albert mission, but I'll probably do that at some point. Anyway, I'll see you lot next time.